says this kind of top-down anthropological approach misses the point. People don't want to be decoded; they want to be understood and met where they are. Like, like it's crazy. Like, how are you? That's like that's like two liberals, two white liberals, having a show about black issues, and they don't bother to have a black person on. How are you going to discuss and debate black issues when you don't even have one of us on? Wouldn't you like to ask us about what we need, what we know, what we want? I mean, if you ask us, that means you really want to know. If you don't ask us, that means that you don't care about what we think. So why are you concerned with how we're voting if you don't give a damn about what we think? And we men, we come in many very different stripes. Men are not a monolith, right? Could you just, I don't know, reach out, ask us what are some of our most pressing issues, especially economically, and then curtail your policies and adapt your policies in order to fit that so that you can actually govern from that and make it so that we actually vote for you? But you know what? I know something. They don't care. They don't want to know. They don't want to know. They don't want to know. Why? Those, if you know, you know. So, man, I'm one. Some of y'all are one. And some of my loved ones who are part of the Rainbow Crew, some of y'all just became, or you've always had it in your high mind and heart, but on the outside, you transition. But then, right? Here's the thing: the Democratic Party can't quite figure y'all out. They can't figure us out. What? It's quite hilarious on his face when you think about it. So let's get into this, shall we? Because when I saw this, I said, no, they're not trying to figure us out like that. They, uh, you guys are gonna, y'all gonna laugh. All right, so a friend of mine sent me this. Shout out to you, Mike. You're a real one. This is hilarious. Let's get into this. All right. Says Dems donors lived it up at swanky hotels trying to figure out why the party is losing working class. This is embarrassing. Oh, it's like Yoda said, how embarrassing. How embarrassing. Okay. It says top Democratic operatives and donors have been hobnobbing in luxury hotels while trying to figure out why the party is shedding men in the working class, moves that have liberals have slammed out as out of touch. In one instance, liberal super PAC Future Forward hosted a gathering in the Ritz Carlton Resort in wealthy Half Moon Bay, California, to apprise donors on what went wrong in 2024. Prominent figures such as California Governor Gavin Newsom, we talked about him last week, remember, and Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear were reported in attendance. Hang on one second. Beep, back up the truck. You're trying to figure out how you lost the male vote and working class vote by doing a conference at the Ritz Carlton? Shall we continue? Let's continue. This is crazy. All right. It says some of the elite gatherings featured appetizers like short rib tostones, mini lobster rolls, beef tenderloin, and other expensive hors d'oeuvres, according to a report from the New York Times. Among the strategy discussion, hold on. Let me do this in my fabulous lifestyles of rich and famous voice. According to the strategy discussions, was a $20 million effort codenamed Sam, speaking with American men, a strategic plan, which is working towards stemming Democrats' hemorrhaging of young men. Some of its recommendations include purchasing more ads on video games and changing the party's language towards men. Sam really underscored the need for Democrats to stop having such a moralizing tone towards men, according to the report. But all of that fanciness and highbrow activities is giving some liberal critics ivory tower vibes. Well, of course, it's going to give them ivory tower vibes. The pause, the pause. Go over there and dust my crystal vase. I'm telling you right now. These guys are fucking idiots. They're either really idiotic, they are morons, they're nincompoops, or they're doing this on purpose because they really don't want men to appeal to men and working class people. They're just trying to make it seem like they're doing something. They're the equivalent of sitting in a dirty kitchen and you want to make yourself look like you're busy. You're wiping the counter, but you're wiping that same spot over and over and over. But you got the rest of the kitchen to clean and you ain't did nothing. But you're just trying to make yourself look like you're busy, right? If you got time to lean, you got time to clean. But they're just like, oh, okay, yeah. I'm gonna wipe this down. There we go. And then I come back a half an hour later. You're still in that same spot. You done wiped that spot so much that you probably practically disintegrated the stainless steel. Like what? That's what the Democrats are doing. And they think you and me are too stupid to realize it. Terrible. Let's continue. All right. Several key former staffers on the Biden and Harris campaigns publicly tore into party luminaries Sunday over a recent New York Times report detailing some of the large living by Democratic elites. It says instead of studying working class voters and men, why doesn't the Democratic Party donor class go out and meet some? What the hell is this? That's from James Singer, a former spokesperson for the Biden and Harris campaigns. Here's the crazy part. It's like, if y'all want to understand men, talk to us. Are you listening? Like, you could just talk to us. You could just show up. Are you knocking on our doors? Are you reaching out? Are you going to, we want to know, like, why did you vote for us? Why you didn't like us? What is it about us? But then they will assume and go, oh man, they didn't vote for Kamala Harris because they're sexist. They didn't vote for Kamala Harris because they're racist. Meanwhile, you have some black men that didn't vote for Kamala Harris, but then they'll go, oh, well, they're misogynist. Meanwhile, you got some black women that wouldn't vote for Kamala Harris. And so what are they going to go? What are they going to say? Oh, well, they have internal misogyny. It's the economy, stupid. It's the money, dummy. My God. My God. Oh, it makes me want to sound like Scar from Lion King. I'm surrounded by idiots. Let's continue. As a Democrat, this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing, truly. That's from Amar Musta, former Biden and Harris campaign rapid response director, bluntly admitted about the story. Democratic donors treating men like endangered species on a remote island they need to study but probably won't rebuild trust. That's from MSNBC contributor Rotimi Adeoye. Says this kind of top-down anthropological approach misses the point. People don't want to be decoded; they want to be understood and met where they are. Like, like it's crazy. Like, how are you? That's like two liberals, two white liberals, having a show about black issues, and they don't bother to have a black person on. How are you going to discuss and debate black issues when you don't even have one of us on? Wouldn't you like to ask us about what we need, what we know, what we want? I mean, if you ask us, that means you really want to know. If you don't ask us, that means that you don't care about what we think. So why are you concerned with how we're voting if you don't give a damn about what we think? And we men, we come in many very different stripes. Men are not a monolith, right? Could you just, I don't know, reach out, ask us what are some of our most pressing issues, especially economically, and then curtail your policies and adapt your policies in order to fit that so that you can actually govern from that and make it so that we actually vote for you? But you know what? I know something. They don't care. They don't want to know. They don't want to know. They don't want to know. But it gives them an excuse so they can go to Ritz Carlton and have expensive hors d'oeuvres and talk about us like we're some endangered species, like we're some species that they just can't figure out. Oh my goodness, who are all these people? We're the people that keep your world running, baby. All right. This really says it all. That was from Michael Bahrain. I'm sorry, Bahrain, chief political analyst at the Liberal Patriot. Conservative pundits also bash Democrats over the high dollar efforts to figure out why the party's support among men has been eroding. Overall, men opted for Trump by 55%, meaning there was a roughly 10-point gap, according to data from the Center for American Women and Politics. This is from Frank Luntz. He says Democratic donors are planning to spend $20 million to figure out how to talk to dudes. $20 million to figure out how to talk to men, to figure out how to talk to dudes. Are you kidding me right now? You could have spent, how much of that money could have been spent on mutual aid? That's when you realize it was never about you. That was when you realized they never actually cared. They just wanted to come up with an excuse. Or we're just trying to figure out how the mind of the brain of a man works in this political system, in this political sphere. And instead of asking us, they spend $20 million on hors d'oeuvres and at the Ritz Carlton. And then guess what? Nothing happens for us. Oh, shocker. And guess what's going to happen in 2026? You hear that? That's the sound of the prospects of a Democrats ever having a majority flushing down the toilet, going down below the street. You know, those of you who recognize what I just sang, you're old enough to know. If you know, you know. Shout out to Sesame Street. Old school. Ben Peterson said, not the Onion. Democrats are searching for the keys to understanding working class voters at, checks notes, the Ritz Carlton Half Moon Bay. That's the National Republican Congressional Committee spokesperson. It's crazy. $20 million. $20 million. It is crazy. And then, you know, what's funny about it all? Obama's a part of this too, because Obama was one of the ones who chastised men for not voting for Kamala Harris, for not giving her attention, when Kamala Harris wasn't talking about doing a damn thing for us. Now, I am one of those men that do definitely believe that women should have a right to choose what happens over their own bodies, because I want a right to choose what happens over my own body. So of course I'm going to, side with women on that. But my thing is like, you made that one of the only points. You made that one of the only points to talk about, right? When in reality, it's like, okay, but what about our ability to be able to afford groceries? What about our ability to be able to afford food? What about our ability to be able to put our kids through school? What about our rent prices and our mortgages? What about our pay? Right? What about the minimum wage, a thriving wage? What about these things? What about what's going on? You guys are approving billions and billions of dollars to going into Ukraine and going towards the genocidal Holocaust-ridden state of Israel, and you guys are still trying to figure out how to appeal to men? We're not that complex. Just ask us the damn questions. And then take what we say and take it to heart and implement the policies. Damn it. What in the world's wrong? Oh. But this is what happens when they're more focused on just making money and getting you to donate to their Act Blue. And make no mistake, Republicans don't care about men either. Oh, don't you think that for 1 second I think the Republicans care about men? Because they don't care about us either. Because here's the thing. They're not doing anything to curtail the massive amounts of self-harm that men disproportionately do to themselves every single year. They're not trying to give us universal health care in order to give us universal mental health services so that all the men who are going through the crisis of wanting to harm themselves are being able to afford mental health. They're not doing that. They're not giving us health care so that we can be able to live longer. They're not giving us housing for all so that we men don't have to work 50, 60, 70 hours a week without ever having to see our kids. We just basically become dudes that work all the time and don't have any time to spend with our families. And then next thing you know, our kids barely know who we are by the time they graduate. That's just the dude that sleeps in mom's room. Right? So make no mistake, the Republicans don't care either. Republicans don't care about men. The Democrats don't care about men. Neither major party cares about us. They don't care about men in general. They don't care about black men. They don't care about brown men. They don't care about disabled men. They don't care about queer men. They don't care about neurodivergent men. They don't care about us. We're a means to an end. Even if you're a white dude, They don't care about you. They don't. Meanwhile, while you're struggling to make ends meet, they expect you to vote for either one of them. They're going to use you so that you end up supporting them and donating your money and your time to them and being part of that divide that keeps the working class divided. The Republicans think they got men figured out too, but they really don't. They just know how to lie a little bit better. But look, I'm going to be real with you. The Democratic Party is cooked. They're cooked. They're fricasseed. They're fried. They're broiled. They're boiled. They're stewed. They're chopped. Oh my goodness. They're filleted. They're flambéed. They're burnt. Like overcooked meatballs. The meatballs, they were wind up being burnt. So look, here's the thing. This is why we talk about walking away from both parties, because both parties don't give a damn about us. We have more power and solidarity with each other than we do with depending on these corporations. And so, yeah, I think it would be best to start focusing mostly on mutual aid, because if they're willing to spend $20 million on hors d'oeuvres and on TV ads and video games, I think that we can do better by actually helping out one another instead of doing what the Democratic Party, or donating to them so that they can just give money to the Ritz Carlton. Who gives a damn about that? Instead, keep your money and use it to help out your neighbors, because that's the best way to uplift men. Gosh, Democratic Party. Like the next election, they're never gonna get it, 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 never get it. Thank you so very much for watching my channel, and I deeply appreciate it from the top and bottom of my heart. If you wish to support the channel further, so I can keep bringing you content that is educational and informative, you can become a patron on patreon.com/Jaybefaunt. You can find that link in the pinned comment or in the description below. No matter what you give, you'll be supporting independent media and education that helps make the world better. Thank you so much, and you can watch more of my content here. Mwah. Forehead kisses, and have a beautiful day.